The point that I was making with that story of the almost took up, you know, was sometimes people end up having to go ahead and think of the moment on what response they would actually, want to have, and in some cases, there have been times in the past where people were kind of, eh, you know, like they're like, I could take it or leave it. But boundary was established, boundary was respected. All right. And the respecting of that boundary, ultimately ended up, I guess, making them feel comfortable and reconsidering, like, you know what? No. If they're respecting that boundary, that showed who they are. That makes me feel like this would be a less regrettable decision in comparison to something happening with somebody else. You know? And, but with the reconsideration of, once consent is revoked, it, in my eyes, it doesn't get reestablished. The person just moments before went and revoked consent. That revoked consent is the established answer. You know? Even if the acceptance of the revoked consent ends up going ahead and telling the person exactly how you would respond in that scenario. And they end up thinking, no. If there would be somebody that this would be a lack of regret in a decision, it would be this person because of the way that they're responding to the boundaries that I'm establishing. Respecting my decisions, my autonomy. And in some cases, it's just one of those circumstances that the person's got to accept. Like, listen, the factor that there was a no said, I am taking that as your set in stone answer. Like, I'm not going to be a participant in a decision that you could potentially regret down the road. Understand, not everyone is like me in that scenario. What I'm saying, though, is phone responses always have to be kept in mind, as well as clear communication of, the trajectory in the future.